The hangar was dimly lit, shadows stretching long across the concrete floor as the afternoon light faded behind the massive glass windows. Captain Evelyn Moore stood alone, her hands steady but her eyes distant as she carefully lifted a small, weathered medal from a wooden box. The medal gleamed faintly, dulled by years but still proud, a symbol of battles fought, missions flown, and sacrifices made. She placed it gently into a glass display case that sat on a workbench cluttered with faded photographs and flight manuals. The medal, once a cherished badge of honor, now gathered dust amid the quiet hum of a hangar that had long since lost its purpose for her. Outside, a steady murmur of voices rose from the base's common area, mingled with the distant drone of aircraft engines preparing for flight. But inside the hangar, Evelyn embraced the stillness, the silence wrapping around her like a familiar cloak. Her thoughts drifted back to the skies she had once ruled, the endless horizon that had been both a challenge and a sanctuary. She recalled the roar of engines, the rush of adrenaline, and the faces of comrades lost to time, memories locked away beneath years of civilian life. Suddenly, the sharp chime of a radio interrupted her reverie. Evelyn's gaze snapped to the old television mounted near the ceiling, flickering to life with the crackling image of a news anchor. The broadcast carried urgent words. A global aviation crisis was unfolding. Natural disasters had struck in rapid succession across continents, overwhelming emergency response teams and triggering a surge in relief flights. Airports were flooded with requests for aid, and the need for experienced pilots was more critical than ever. Evelyn listened intently, her fingers tightening around the edge of the display case. The words echoed in her mind, stirring a conflict she hadn't anticipated. Though she had promised herself that her flying days were behind her, a deep, restless urge began to rise within her chest. The call for help was unmistakable. It tugged at the very core of her being, awakening a sense of duty long buried beneath the quiet of retirement. The hangar's silence was broken by the soft sound of footsteps. Marcus Reed stepped inside, a young pilot with bright eyes and an eager smile. He paused by the display case, his gaze fixed on the medal. "Captain Moore," he said, voice filled with awe. "I've heard stories about you. Your missions, your leadership. You're a legend around here." Evelyn offered a faint, tired smile, but said nothing. Marcus continued, his tone shifting to one of urgency. "The crisis out there, it's unlike anything we've dealt with before. The younger pilots are stretched thin. We're losing ground, and the commanders are desperate for help. They need veterans. They need you." She looked at him then, really looked, and saw the weight of exhaustion behind his enthusiasm. The strain of endless flights, the pressure of responsibility pressing down on shoulders too young to carry it all. The contrast between his hopeful determination and the quiet resignation she felt was stark. "I promised myself I'd never fly again," Evelyn said quietly, her voice steady but laced with hesitation. "There are risks, Marcus. Things I've left behind for a reason." Marcus nodded, stepping closer, his gaze unwavering. "I know, but this isn't just about flying. It's about saving lives, about answering a call that only someone with your experience can hear clearly. We need you, Captain. Please." The tension in the hangar thickened, the weight of unspoken fears and hopes pressing between them. Evelyn's mind raced with memories, the narrow escapes, the missions that had tested her resolve, the comrades who never returned. Each memory was a thread pulling her toward a decision she had resisted for so long. Outside, the distant roar of engines grew louder, a reminder of the urgent world beyond the hangar's walls. The young pilots preparing for their missions were counting on her, whether they knew it or not. Marcus's earnest eyes held a silent plea, a beacon in the growing dusk. Evelyn took a deep breath, feeling the familiar pulse of determination ignite beneath her skin. The medal in the display case was no longer just a relic of the past. It was a symbol waiting to be reborn. With a steady hand, she reached for the glass, her gaze lifting to meet Marcus's. "I'll go back," she said, her voice resolute. "Not because I want to, but because I have to." Relief and gratitude softened Marcus's features. "You won't regret this, Captain. We'll make sure of that." The hangar seemed to hold its breath as Evelyn stepped away from the case, the weight of years now transformed into a renewed purpose. The quiet hum of the bass grew louder, filling the space with the promise of action and the unspoken bond between past and present. As she walked toward the exit, her eyes caught one last glance at the medal, gleaming faintly in the dim light. It was no longer a symbol of retirement or surrender. It was a testament to resilience, honor, and the unyielding spirit of those who answer the call when the world needs them most. Outside, the air was cooler, carrying the distant echoes of engines and the promise of missions yet to come. Evelyn Moore, once a legend laid to rest, was ready to take to the skies again. The hangar doors closed softly behind her, sealing away the silence and opening the way to a new chapter, one written not in quiet reflection, but in the roar of engines and the courage to face the unknown once more. At the airbase briefing room, the fluorescent lights hummed softly as Commander Lisa Grant stood before a room filled with pilots, their faces a mixture of fatigue and anticipation. The stakes were high. Natural disasters had ravaged multiple regions, and the relief efforts depended on every flight executed with precision and care. Commander Grant's voice was steady, her tone commanding yet infused with urgency as she outlined the critical missions ahead. "Each flight you undertake will be a lifeline," she said, eyes sweeping the room. "We are operating under conditions that demand experience, resilience, and teamwork. We cannot afford mistakes. That's why I'm counting on veterans like Captain Evelyn Moore to lead the way." Evelyn sat among the younger pilots, her posture upright, the weight of responsibility settling comfortably on her shoulders. The room's atmosphere shifted subtly as her presence became evident, not just a figure of the past, but an embodiment of calm authority and steadfast leadership. Marcus Reed, seated nearby, absorbed every word she spoke, his gaze occasionally flickering toward her with a mix of respect and eagerness. The briefing continued with detailed mission plans, routes through treacherous weather, coordination with ground teams, and contingencies for emergencies. Evelyn's mind cataloged each instruction with the precision born of decades in the cockpit. When the floor opened for questions, she shared insights from her own experience, weaving stories of past emergencies into lessons on resilience and collaboration. "There will be moments when everything feels like it's against you," she said, voice low but firm. "The key is to trust your team and stay focused on the mission. Panic is the enemy, preparation and calm are your allies." Her words resonated deeply within the room, instilling confidence where doubt had lingered. Marcus leaned closer, absorbing not just the tactical advice, but the quiet strength radiating from Evelyn's every gesture. The younger pilots exchanged glances, newfound respect evident in their eyes. Later, on the tarmac, the team gathered around their aircraft. Evelyn's commanding presence was unmistakable as she conducted the pre-flight checks, her hands moving with practiced ease. The younger pilots watched, learning not just procedures, but the art of leadership in motion. Marcus approached her, voice low but earnest. "Captain, your experience, it's exactly what we needed. You make us better." Evelyn nodded, a slight smile touching her lips. "We all have something to bring to the table. The trick is knowing when to lead and when to listen." As the planes taxied toward the runway, the tension of the mission settled into a focused determination. Evelyn took the lead on a particularly challenging relief flight, navigating through turbulent skies to deliver essential supplies to a devastated region. Her hands were steady on the controls, her eyes sharp, every decision a blend of intuition and experience. The mission was fraught with unexpected challenges, a sudden storm, shifting winds, and communication blackouts. Yet Evelyn's calm demeanor and clear commands kept the team coordinated, their efforts synchronized like a well-oiled machine. When the aircraft finally touched down on the makeshift airstrip, relief washed over the crew, a testament to their collective resilience and skill. Back at the base, the pilots gathered in the mess hall, their exhaustion tempered by a shared sense of accomplishment. Conversations buzzed with admiration for Evelyn's leadership, the way she had steered them through adversity with unwavering confidence. Marcus found a quiet moment to speak with her, gratitude evident in his tone. "Captain, seeing you in action, it's inspired all of us. You remind us why this work matters." Evelyn regarded him thoughtfully, the weight of her journey settling between them. "Sometimes, answering the call means stepping back into the storm you once left behind. But it's worth it," for the lives we save and the bonds we forge. As the evening shadows lengthened, Evelyn's medal caught the light in the corner of the room, no longer a relic but a living symbol of dedication and sacrifice. The hangar's quiet had been replaced by the hum of renewed purpose, the unbreakable link between past and present forged anew. She looked out the window toward the runway, the rising sun casting a golden hue across the tarmac. Ahead lay more missions, more challenges, but Evelyn felt ready, her spirit rekindled by the call to serve once more. The journey was far from over, but with each flight, she and her team carried hope to the skies and beyond.